For the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to lock in as much as possible. But the one thing I'm doing that's making my life way better, I feel way better. My gym progress is going up. I feel happier. My sleep is 100 million times better. The main thing I'm doing is actually getting rest. Now, here's the thing. People think rest is like, just going on your whatever, like, waking up, like sleeping in, going on your phone, kind of like relaxing the whole day, whatever, eating however you want, not worrying about anything. That's not actually rest. Playing video games and stuff kind of like makes your brain like overstimulated, right? So it's kind of weird, but whenever you play video games for like whatever 5 hours, or you scroll on your phone for 5 hours, you're weirdly drained. Like you're weirdly just tired. You kind of just feel like, I don't know, dull. If that's actual relaxing, you shouldn't feel worse off, right? Kind of makes sense. If you whatever start off like this level of energy, you play video games or watch movies or do whatever for a couple of hours, you somehow feel weirdly more drained, right? That's not what actual rest is. Most of us, and me specifically, have not had actual rest in years, right? I haven't properly felt relaxed and rested up until recently. Now, I want to tell you guys a story of me doing this the first time ever and the results it gave me. And most of you won't believe it, but whatever, believe it or not if you want, I don't really care. But pretty much, I was sick, right? A couple weeks ago, I had like a 40-degree fever. It was pretty bad, right? So for that day, what I did was I actually rested, which I'll be telling you how to do. So first off, I barely went on my phone, and I only watched like, whatever long-term, like long, movies that are kind of like less stimulating, if that makes sense. Like not action movies, like, more calm movies, right? So that's step one. That's my entertainment. I listened to my body and I didn't go outside and like go to the gym or whatever. I had a lot of water, healthy food, and the most important thing, very good sleep. So let's break it down each one. So first off, food and water. Pretty obvious, you get your micronutrients. When you get your micronutrients, you feel more rested. Like, you just feel better. That's pretty simple. Now, next up, and the kind of like, this is still obvious, but it does like a really big difference, is sleep. There's hundreds of videos online on how to sleep better. But I'm telling you, you do not know how much better you'd feel with good sleep. If you've had a night of really good sleep and you dream, you'll wake up so much more motivated. You'll wake up so much more energetic. You will literally feel better. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll love yourself more. You just feel so much nicer, right? So sleep is an amazing big thing that you have to, it's a must, right? It's 100% a must. But these, the first two things I said, food and sleep, are pretty obvious, right? Now, here's a kind of how to actually rest, right? So whatever, you're tired, or you've had your whatever week of gym, whatever. You go home, and how to unwind is by doing almost nothing, right? You can imagine your grandpa or whatever, your dad, when they used to come back from work in like the 80s or 90s, when there was no phone, they just sat down with a cigar and a cup of coffee and just looked at the wall for an hour. Now, you don't have to do all that. But the point is, how to actually unwind is by doing not stimulating activities, right? Talking with your mom, talking with your friends, going out with your friends, and more calm thing is how to recover, right? It's how to feel better and feel fully rested, right? Letting your mind speak a little bit, just unwinding. You can imagine that if you just have a day to yourself at like a spa or something, right? Just relaxing yourself, you're just chilling, you're letting your mind think. Your mind's kind of like clearing up all, your week's worries. You're just letting yourself chill, right? So if you're feeling tired, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling overworked, you're burnt out for like 2 to 3 days, just chill, right? Don't go on your phone that much, maybe an hour and a half just to whatever, text people. No video games, healthy food, sleep a lot, like sleep like a baby, like 10 hours of good sleep. Again, there's whatever, hundreds of videos on how to sleep better. But the most important thing that you could possibly do to yourself is just relax, just chill. Like if you have a pool nearby, whatever, put your things on, go to the pool for an hour and just sit down, right? Or if whatever, you don't have access to a pool, make yourself a cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever. Sit down with your mom, your dad, your brothers, your friends. Go to a cafe and just, drink your tea for an hour, have a good conversation, And if you don't have anybody, right, you can just look at, just whatever, look outside, look at the window, and just chill. That will lower your stress by a lot, right? By the end of the day, you'll feel kind of like energized. In a weird way, you'll feel kind of like calmer, more energized. You're ready to do stuff the next day. And your sleep will be that much better, right? So yeah, that's my actionable step. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.